Herb Singer, the owner of Discount Car and Truck Rentals, is the oldest child of Second World War survivors. His father, a house painter by trade, was born in Poland and suffered the persecution of the Nazis as they invaded his homeland. Herb was born in Siberia in 1945, and 3 months later, his parents moved to Israel, where Herb would live for the first 10 years of his life.
We left, my parents left, I was 3 months old from Russia. So I don't speak Russian, I know nothing about it. And from there we went through Europe, Germany, and then we ended up in Israel for 10 years. And then we ended up in Brazil for a year and a half. And then I ended up in New York on my own at the age of 14. My dad is a war survivor. He's a house painter by trade, a huge smoker. And he just felt that America is a place to go. America, North America is the same thing. So, of course, me as a child had no say. So let me put it this way. If I was to compare my childhood compared to my grandkids today, there's of course no comparison. If I was to, it was a rough childhood. It was rougher than average, but I've really nothing to compare it to. Remember, when you're traveling between countries, languages are very important. And I didn't speak Portuguese at the time in Brazil because I only spoke Hebrew and Yiddish at the time. So here I am, 12 and a half years old, sitting in class with kids that are 6 or 7 years old, and I'm a big guy, right, sitting on a little stool. It's pretty degrading. So my mom decided that the place to be, the place to go, for me would be the U.S. And then from New York in '66, in '63 I had a summer job in the rental car business. It was a summer job. And in '66, my girlfriend at the time, my wife today, my bride then, decided to come to Canada because she came to visit Canada. And in '66, she said, this is a nice place. There's no black soot, and it's not everything is concrete. There's a few trees here, a little bit of grass. Would you want to move to Canada? I said, yeah, I think I have a cousin there someplace. And we moved to Canada.
Herb would land his first job in Canada with a Ford car dealership, then an insurance company, and a brief time in the airline industry. In 1969, he would pursue his interest in the car rental business and landed a job at Budget Rent-A-Car in Toronto. Then, in 1974, his life would change.
They offered me a franchise agreement of some sort in Hamilton. And I lived in Toronto at the time. So we moved to Hamilton. And we were there for about 6, 7 years.
Herb started his first store in Hamilton and then Burlington. When he opened his fourth location, that's when the business offers started to flow in.
Before, so I'm getting bombarded from calls with all kinds of, it's like I won the lottery. Did you ever win the lottery? And people come at you and say, hey, I know him. So I had all kinds of business propositions, partnerships, joint ventures, franchising. So for 2 years, we sort of beat them off. And then I started to look into it. I said, well, maybe there is some sense to this madness, maybe there isn't. And we started to talk to some office designers, patent lawyers, and it looked like, uniformity was important, logo design was important, because our logo then wasn't anywhere near to what it is today. And to the point where some people thought that, the public thought, anyway, the public image was that we were an American company, when in fact we weren't. So we went ahead and we changed the logo slightly by putting in the maple leaf over the eye in the old logo, just to give that Canadianism into the logo so that people understand we are a Canadian company, not an export from the U.S. to Canada. And we just, we slowly started to grow with different arrangements. Franchising is one, joint ventures. Some tire kickers, some people thought they can do this business on a part-time basis. And also remember at that time, it wasn't that difficult to get into this business and it didn't cost a lot of money. Today, if you were to do the same thing, you need a lot of money. You need millions and millions of dollars, computers, programs, people, HR people, you need computer experts, and it's a little more complex world.
Herb Singer, born in Siberia in 1945, moved with his parents through Europe until age 10 when the Singers emigrated to Brazil. Young Herb is humiliated by being forced to attend classes with children half his age due to his inability to speak Portuguese, the official language of Brazil. Herb is sent to boarding school in New York and after graduating leaves for Canada, where he embarks on his career in the car rental business. With 4 stores of his own under the Discount banner and a new joint venture now in Mississauga, Herb is poised to exploit an area of the car rental business his competitors are missing.
The next one was a joint venture in Mississauga, and that's where we really saw the light, when we were just going gangbusters. And you have to understand that nobody really paid attention to what we were doing because our competitors only dabbled into what we were doing, which is basically serving the replacement car segment, which is car dealers, body shops, and insurance companies, the needs for their insureds to get a means of transportation, so when their car is down, they're still mobile. And so nobody really paid attention to it in a big way. When they did, it was in the wintertime when the airport was slow. They started to dabble into that. And as soon as the airport picked up, they were out of it. We're also the first one to introduce free pickup and return, free customer pickup and return. Even today, competitors who say that they pick up, they don't return, only if they're not busy. But we do pick up with no ifs, ands, or buts. We do pick up and return, free of charge. Well, retail, because of the weather that we have in this country, is very spotty. In the summertime, everybody travels. In the fall, they still continue traveling. But in the winter, nobody wants to travel unless they have to travel. So you really don't have a Florida weather here, and you never will have. So therefore, the segment, the insurance segment is an important piece to staying alive 12 months out of the year. Not that we get rich on it, but we can keep the doors open.
Herb takes great pride in being an all-Canadian company and goes to great lengths to make sure everyone knows that Discount is not a U.S. affiliate. His wife Rhoda has been by his side since the beginning, and all 3 children, Barry, Jay, and Sarah, are deeply involved with the business. Herb subscribes to the theory that DNA does not give you any rights into the family business. All 3 have an MBA, and Dad made them all work elsewhere before coming to work at Discount. In addition, all 3 have started at the bottom and worked their way up.
Yep, they were not forced to come here. They had to come. They asked to come here, and one of the rules that we have is that they have to work for somebody else outside the business for 2 years. They have to have their MBA, and they have to start at the bottom. And every one of my kids started at the bottom, and they know this game just like anybody else in this whole building. And then some. And that's the kind of respect that they have to gain in order for the rest of the team to have a respect for their A, understanding of the business, and B, when they come into meetings, that they know what they're talking about. That they're not just because the name happens to be Singer that they have an entitlement. They don't.
With close to 40 years of entrepreneurial experience, we listen carefully to the advice from this self-made man.
Well, number 1, know your product. Number 2, stay focused. And number 3, be very, very disciplined, because you will be distracted by people around you that don't mean to distract you, but they do distract you. You know, it's the old story, like somebody's overweight and everybody tells you gotta go on a diet, you gotta go on a diet, you gotta go on a diet. But if you go with them to the restaurant, they'll tell you, why don't you try this, why don't you try that? Well, you just finished telling me to go on a diet, why are you telling me to try this? So, I mean, they don't mean that, but that's really what it is. So you gotta be very, I can tell you that people have tried to distract me in different ways, even when I was working for our competitors. And I knew what I wanted, and I wouldn't let them distract me, even though it wasn't for my business. I wouldn't let them distract me. And you know, you look at where they are today and where I am today, there's no comparison.